Hello guys, welcome to another video here on the introduction to cybersecurity, and we're currently under the introduction to defensive security model. We concluded the intro to digital forensics last, and the last video on the last room here on the introduction to cybersecurity is the security operations. And without further ado, let's jump onto it. Security operations. Learn about the Security Operations Center (SOC), its responsibilities, services, and data sources. Task 1, an introduction to security operations. Now, a Security Operations Center (SOC) is a team of IT security professionals tasked with monitoring a company's network and system 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their purpose of monitoring is to 1. Find vulnerabilities on the network. Now, a vulnerability is a weakness that an attacker can exploit to carry out things beyond their permission level. Now, a vulnerability might be discovered in any device's software, operating system, and programs on the network, such as a server or a computer. Now, for instance, the SOC might discover a set of MS Windows computers that might be patched against a specific published vulnerability. Now, strictly speaking, vulnerabilities are not necessarily the SOC's responsibility. However, unfixed vulnerabilities affect the security level of the entire company. So they do it regardless. Now, detect the second responsibility, or what they do, is to detect unauthorized activity. Now, consider the case where an attacker discovered the username and password of one of the employees and used it to log into the company's system. It is crucial to detect this kind of unauthorized activity quickly before it causes any damage. Many clues can help us detect this, such as geographical location. Third, discover policy violations. A security policy is a set of rules and procedures created to help protect a company against security threats and ensure compliance. Now, what is considered a violation would vary from one company to another. Examples include downloading pirated media files and sending confidential company files insecurely. Fourth here is to detect intrusions. Intrusions refer to system and network intrusions. One example scenario would be an attacker successfully exploiting our web application. Another example scenario would be a user visiting a malicious site and getting their computer infected. Lastly here would be to support with the incident response. Now, an accident or an incident can be an observation, a policy violation, an intrusion attempt, or something more damaging, such as a major breach. Now, responding correctly to a severe incident is not an easy task, so the SOC can support the incident response team handle the situation. Now, this room focuses on the SOC services and everyday work. We recommend that you finish the introduction to defensive security room before going through this one. We already did that, and answer the following question: what does SOC stand for? That should be Security Operations Center. Correct. Now, how many hours a day does the SOC monitor the network? They monitor it 24 hours every day. And that's the answer. Heading to task 2. In this task 2, elements of security operations. In this task, we talk about example data sources that the SOC relies on, the services that the SOC provides, an example scenario. Now, data source or data sources. Now, the SOC uses many data sources to monitor the network for signs of intrusion and to detect any malicious behavior. Some of these sources are: 1. Server logs. There are many types of servers on a network, such as mail server, web server, and domain controller on Microsoft Windows networks. Logs contain information about various activities, such as successful and failed login attempts, amongst many others. Now, there is a trove of information that can be found in the server logs. DNS activities. And the DNS stands for domain name system, and it is the protocol responsible for converting a domain name such as Tryhackme to an IP address such as 10.3.13.37. Now, among other domain name related queries, one analogy of the DNS query is asking, how can I reach Tryhackme? And someone replying with the postal address. Okay, in practice, if someone tries to browse tryhackme.com, the DNS server has to resolve it and can log the DNS query to monitoring. Okay, now the SOC can gather information about domain names that internal systems are trying to communicate with by merely inspecting DNS queries. Okay, great. Firewall logs. Now, a firewall is a device that controls network packets entering and leaving the network, mainly by letting them through or blocking them. Now, consequently, firewall logs can reveal much information about what packets passed or tried to pass through the firewall. DHCP logs. DHCP stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, and it is responsible for assigning an IP address to the systems that try to connect to a network. Now, one analogy of the DHCP request would be when you enter a fancy restaurant and the waiter welcomes you and guides you to an empty table. Know that DHCP has automatically provided your device with the network settings whenever you can join a network without manual configurations. Now, by inspecting DHCP transactions, we can learn about the devices that joined the network. Now, these are some of the most common data sources. However, many other sources can be used to aid in the network security monitoring and the other tasks of the SOC. Now, a SOC might use the security information and event management system SIEM. The SIEM aggregates the data from the different sources so that the SOC can efficiently correlate the data and respond to attacks. Server log, DNS activity, firewall logs, database logs, DHCP logs. These are all what the SOC analysts would be looking at. Okay. Now, SOC services. Now, SOC services include reactive and proactive services in addition to other services. Now, reactive services refer to the task initiated after detecting an intrusion or a malicious event. Now, example reactive services include one, to monitor security posture. This is the primary role of the SOC, and it includes monitoring the network and computers for security alerts and notification and responding to them as the need dictates. Now, vulnerability management. This refers to finding vulnerabilities in the company's system and patching or fixing them. The SOC can assist with these tasks, but not necessarily execute it. Now, malware analysis. The SOC might recover malicious programs that reached the network. The SOC can't do basic analysis by executing it on a controlled environment. However, more advanced analysis requires sending it to a dedicated team. Now, intrusion detection. An intrusion detection system IDS is used to detect and log intrusions and suspicious packets. The SOC's job is to maintain such a system, monitor its alerts, and go through its logs as the need dictates. Now, reporting. It is essential to report incidents and alarms. Reporting is necessary to ensure a smooth workflow and to support compliance requirements. Now, what is the proactive service part? Now, the proactive services refer to the tasks handled by the SOC without any indicator of an intrusion. Example proactive services carried out by the SOC include network security monitoring, NSM, network security monitoring. This focuses on monitoring the network data and analyzing the traffic to detect signs of intrusion. Next is threat hunting. With threat hunting, the SOC assumes an intrusion has already taken place and begins its hunts to see if they can confirm this assumption. Threat intelligence. Threat intelligence focuses on learning about potential adversaries and their tactics and techniques to improve the company's defenses. Now, the purpose would be to establish a threat-informed defense. Other services by the SOC, include cybersecurity training. Many data breaches and intrusions can be avoided by raising users' security awareness and arming them with solid security training. Okay. Now, example scenario. One role in a SOC is the SOC analyst. Now, a SOC analyst is responsible for network security monitoring and log management. Now, let's consider the following scenario. While monitoring the network traffic, a SOC analyst notices a particular DNS query repeating every minute. This behavior is not that of a user browsing the internet, and every precisely 1 minute they are making a DNS query. Now, the SOC analyst checks the source of the DNS query and identifies the cause as one laptop on the network. They isolate it and inspect it for signs of infection. They discover a process or a program using DNS to communicate with a malicious server. Soon they find out that the computer was infected after visiting a malicious website by reviewing the computer logs. As a result, the laptop began communicating with a malicious server by hiding the messages in DNS queries. Now, the laptop is cleaned and threat hunting starts to ensure that no other computers are infected. Okay, all right. Now, what does NSM stand for? That should be network security. Yes, monitoring. Network security monitoring. That should be the correct answer. Good. And lastly, practical example. Tax tree, a practical example of SOC. Let's view a website. Let's open that. Okay. Now, we use a firewall to stop an ongoing attack in this task. Okay, a firewall is a device that inspects network packets entering and leaving a network or a system. The most basic types of firewalls inspect. One, you say source and destination IP address. An IP address is a logical address that allows you to communicate over the internet. And then one analogy is the postal address. For example, a company needs a valid postal address to send and receive parcels. Think of the IP packets as a mail packet parcel. Okay. Now, source and destination port numbers, IP address and port numbers. Where applicable, a computer has an IP address. Furthermore, each program on the computer needs a port number to communicate over the network. Back to our analogy, a port number would be similar to a room number within a company. Great. Now, a firewall rule might be similar to the following. So, source IP address, destination IP address, source port, destination port, action. Now, so if the source IP address is this, the destination IP is this, source port any, destination port 80, pass. But if it is the same, this IP address particularly, of course, this destination IP address, which will be probably the company's own or somewhere, any port. But if the destination port is 23, drop. Now, the above two rules dictate the following. Let's see. Now, all IP packets from the source IP address 172.16.41 to the destination IP address 10.10.10.41 to the destination port 80 will be allowed, hence pass. Now, all IP packets from the source IP address 172.16.8.1 to the destination IP address 10.10.10.81 to the destination port 23 will be blocked, hence drop. Now, click on the view site, which we've done to begin the simulation. As a member of the SOC team, while monitoring the network and systems, you notice one malicious IP address attacking one of the company's computers. It seems that they are targeting many destination ports with malicious packets. It seems best if we block them at the firewall level. Now, the question to answer is, add the necessary firewall rules to block the ongoing attack. What is the flag that you have received after successfully stopping the attack? Alright, we're going to simulate this. The website at 203.0.1.110.1 is under attack. Quickly add some firewall rules to stop the server from crashing. The packets in red are from the attacker's machine. So for start, it's basically using a firewall rule to block the attack. So we see this is the malicious computer 198.51. So 198.198.198 the 51.100.34. I'm just going to drop add the rule and see. It's still going on, so it's oh sorry. Okay, we're going to restart this. The reason is because the malicious IP address is coming from the malicious attack is coming from the IP address 198.51.100.34, and the IP address of the computer is 203.0.110.1. so I didn't do that on time. So this is the IP address of the attacker 51.34, and destination IP is 203.0.110. then port should be 21. Add the rule and that should stop it. Okay, port 80 and add the rule. Oh my god, let's start again. So what port exactly is this? Router, that should be port 80.80. and okay, let's add all this rule and drop the 21, drop the 80, drop the 336, drop. I just add all of them basically, and then there we go. Basically, this wouldn't be how, this is just a simulation. I believe there's a faster way to probably do that. Now for submit, that should be the correct answer for the last task here. Thank you for studying with me one more time. We'll finish this particular learning part, the introduction to cybersecurity. I previously started with pre-security, so I'm done with 2 learning parts right now, revising them. And thank you for studying with me. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll probably be starting with complete beginner course, and do have a lovely day. Ciao.